Hello everybody, we just want to say a big thank you for watching our show.
And if you'd like to subscribe to our channel where you can find all our programs and other recordings we do, you can subscribe to our channel. And if you want to find out more about our live seminars that happen every Saturday, click here. Enjoy the program.
Bye.
Hello and welcome to Love Talk. Coming up on today's show, we'll be going on a little afternoon trip with Priscilla and Eric on their trip for two. Be taking a few fitness tips from Love Fitness. Hearing what's the latest in the 1 Minute Bulletin, and of course joining our guest and expert in the studio to discuss today's topic. Today we're discussing what makes love forbidden. Can we be so blinded by love that we can't see the warning signs no matter how many people point them out to us? Why are some people so set on self-destruction? Let's find out more on today's show.
Hello everyone, welcome to Love Talk with me, James.
And with me, Helena.
You know, from the moment we're born, it seems like the very same thing we were told that we couldn't have or we couldn't do is the one we wanted to do the most.
Yeah, it's true. Somehow we seem to be attracted to risk and danger. Just look at some of the crazy sports and activities around, for example. Bungee jumping, rock climbing, and the list goes on.
Actually, I've wanted to do a couple of those before and
not me.
You didn't let me.
No. And I will never.
Now, the thing is that sometimes this spills out to our relationships, and against the advice of people who love us and our own common sense, we ignore this advice, and later on, we end up getting hurt.
Oh yes, but if we know it's going to end up in pain, why do we do it?
That's the question.
Indeed. Why do we go against our own good judgment and sometimes get into relationships with people we would advise our friends against?
And this is really silly because we would hope that our friends would listen to our advice if they're in a destructive or dangerous relationship, but we wouldn't take that advice ourselves, and that's not good, right?
Not at all.
Well, today we'll be looking into this and hopefully also help along the way those who are currently in this sticky situation.
Well, we have two very special guests on today, and one of them had a long-lasting and destructive relationship with someone who made her live a very difficult life. And yet, like a drug, she couldn't seem to cut this person loose.
And that's exactly the right word. It's that sometimes these relationships are like a drug.
Yeah.
You know you should let go of these people, you should let go of this relationship, but you can't. It's something that feels stronger than you when you keep going back.
Indeed. And we'll be talking to a second guest who is a relationship therapist. And I have some very interesting, I think they are interesting questions that will help our viewers at home. And yeah, I can't wait.
But first, let's see what people in London have to say about this topic of forbidden love, how they see this. We'll be right back.
What do you think makes love forbidden?
Generally anything dangerous, I suppose. I mean, incest is probably the biggest example as it leads to, genetic defects, that sort of thing.
Depending on your sexuality, some people might not agree with the way you are in a certain way, and that might prevent you from being yourself and also sharing who you like as well.
I suppose by definition it's forbidden by perhaps social boundaries or other people's expectations or even your own feelings of what is right and what is wrong, and also sometimes by religious teachings.
Do you think people have a point in objecting in your romance? So do they have the right to object?
No. Coming from an Indian background, I think that they are traditionally raised to have an arranged marriage. I understand how back in the day that used to be the culture and how things were, but I think in today's day and age, love is what love is because of the openness of it, depending on whatever relationship it is, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a more serious relationship with a significant other. I don't think anybody has the right to interfere unless it's hurting that person in a way. I think if you see that it's a negative effect, I think you have the right to step in if you love that other person.
Depends on the context. Again, there are some things with dangerous outcomes, at which point, yes. Anything that's just personal between two people, not a problem.
It can be a yes or a no answer. You can have sometimes people that are completely blind by what they're doing, and sometimes they need some sort of reassurance. But at the same time, there does need to sometimes be like some sort of boundaries where you can allow the couple to do what they're doing at the same time. But if it gets to a point where it's too much, be involved in it, I would say.
Most of the time, no. I think everyone should be able to make their own decisions, but if it's for your own safety, you know, perhaps it's with someone who's, I don't want to use the word abusive, but, you know, perhaps a bit too controlling or not quite right, then, yeah, they have the right to give their views, but not to object to it out of hand, no.
Personally, no, because no one tells me what to do. But, and I wouldn't object in anyone else's life as well. I think we should all make our own decisions. Because I don't think you get to choose who you love, really. I think it's a very personal decision.
Do other people's opinions in your love life really matter in the end of the day?
No.
I believe that if you love somebody, your friends should also love them. Let's say if you're dating somebody and you do love them, I think that it matters that your friends love them, because then you wouldn't want to be around them, or it just creates kind of turmoil in other relationships. If you're dating somebody that you love and your friends don't really like them, I think that it matters in some sense, but I don't think that it should be the defining factor of love.
It depends what they say. Like personally, I've never been in love before, so like I wouldn't really know. But in terms of just people's opinion in general, it depends whether I value that person. And if I don't, I won't believe what they're saying. But if I do, then I will agree with it.
Yes, to the extent that I would like everyone to, you know, get along in my network, but ultimately, no, beyond that, you know, I think everyone has the maturity to get along with different types of people, and if they're my friends, then they should understand why I like, you know, that particular person. So a bit of a yes and a no, but ultimately, no. Hopefully everyone will just work out.
I mean, obviously, like my mother, my father, I'm very close with them. I respect them. So if they had concerns about someone, then I would question, why are they concerned about this particular person? So their opinion does matter, but ultimately the heart wants what the heart wants, doesn't it?
Very interesting.
It's a little bit mixed, right? I think perhaps people thought that, you know, something forbidden is something that is either against the law or is frowned upon. Other people think, you know, if both agree, then it doesn't matter. But I think the problem is that sometimes people answer questions thinking of a fantasy world, an ideal world that doesn't happen, that doesn't exist. And that's the thing, you know, in an ideal world, you date a guy who is a gangster and you can save him, you can change him. In an ideal world, you can take a girl who has a substance abuse problem and you fall in love and you can save her. But in real world, it doesn't happen because there's so many issues involved. Yeah. So I think we have to be realistic about what forbidden love is and the consequences.
Indeed, and one of the people said on the interview said, oh, many people don't know sometimes that they are in a relationship like this. But I don't believe in that. I'll tell you why. Because, not 100%, because, you know, there are exceptions. But for example, we have something called a conscience. And you know when something is not right, like for example, being with someone that is involved with illegal activities and all that, you know there's something dodgy about it. So that's what we mean, you know.
The problem is that people
not a healthy relationship.
The problem is that people feel excited about that and they want to do it.
Indeed. Well, perhaps to understand today's topic a little bit better, we need to travel back to high school. It seemed the popular kids at school were always the rebels. I mean, no one wanted to stick around, you know, with the nerds, right? No one wanted to be...
Were you a rebel?
No, I was a nerd. It was me, Pedro, I remember his name until today, and then there was another guy. We were like the...
The nerds. Now, even though yesterday's nerds are today's highly successful people.
Oh, yes.
We didn't see this in this fashion at that time because rebels were cool, and we wanted in, but now we understand this. And by the way, when we use the word nerds, please understand, we're using this in a comedic way. We don't mean any offense by it, by the way.
Well, and somehow it seems like, you know, the schoolboy and the schoolgirl mentality never left us, really. We seem to mature with some things, but never grow up with others, unfortunately.
Some people are now mature, but that mentality of I want to find someone edgy and dangerous and so on, it's still controlling them. And that's what causes problems sometimes. Now, after the break, we'll be talking a little bit more about this and giving you some tips on how to deal with situations and relationships like this. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, we really hope that you are enjoying today's program.
And of course, if you find this program helpful, don't forget to share it with your friends and also like our video. Bye-bye. Welcome back. We're talking about forbidden love. Let's just explain what we mean by that. I think that's important. You know, forbidden love is not what culture says is forbidden, or your tradition or your family says is forbidden. Forbidden love, as anything that is forbidden, things that are forbidden are for your own protection. If you think about that, when you had a child and you told your child, look, don't touch the socket on the wall, or don't play with knives, or don't play with fire, that was for that child's protection. It's not like you wanted to deprive the child of having great fun with electricity or fire.
Or the fire.
And forbidden love is this. It's something that perhaps you cannot see. I
think
it's
forbidden for a reason.
Yes, and I think, Lena, sometimes what happens is that people cannot see at that time that it's bad for them because it's they're so involved in it.
Depending on the situation, it's true.
And when someone says to you, look, I think this is not good, I think if one or two or then 3, 4 people tell you the same thing, you have to stop and listen because perhaps it's for your own good.
Yeah, and there will be signs to look out for, which our guests will be talking about very soon. So indeed, there are situations where you can't really see or tell that you are in one of those relationships. But here we are today trying to help.
Exactly.
Who knows, we can help you.
And who are we to tell you that your relationship is forbidden? I hope that your good judgment and looking at the signs will perhaps do that already for you. And in fact, our guest in the studio here today, Samantha Dixon, her story talks exactly about this. But before that, let's go to this week's 1-minute news bulletin.
Well, welcome to today's 1-minute bulletin. Now, The Notebook is one of the most famous and cited romantic movies of recent times. But before you start idealizing this sort of chemistry for your relationship, you should know that the 2 main stars, Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, actually hated each other while filming. This shows that movies aren't always what they seem. Remember, build a relationship based on giving and reality, not fairy tales. See you next time.
Well, you see that today's 1-minute news bulletin teaches you not to believe everything you see on the screen.
Oh yes, or maybe you've been watching this wonderful couple who is a friend of yours and you just envy them, or you desire so much to be like them, but you don't know what happens behind closed doors.
So be careful.
Indeed.
Now, we spoke to Lena Fenton, who's a relationship advisor. Actually, Elena spoke to her, and she had a lot to say as to why some people choose to be in dangerous relationships and forbidden relationships. Here's what she had to say.
Hi everyone, I have here with me today Lena Fenton joining us via Skype. By the way, thank you so much, Lena, for agreeing to answer some of our questions here today on the show. It's very kind of you. Thank you. Am I right to say that you are a relationship therapist?
Yes, I am.
Yes? Okay, where are you based, Lena, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm based in Oakwood, in North 14.
Okay, that's London, yes?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much once again for your time. Now, today we're talking about forbidden love. And I know that you see and you help many couples as well as, individuals as one-to-ones and everything. And I do know that you help them with issues of love and all that. Now, what do you think of this topic, forbidden love? Do you often get couples coming to see you and trying to work, on something in their relationship, and you can clearly see that one of them is not ready to be in that relationship, or that they shouldn't even be. What do you encounter usually, please, if you don't mind telling us?
Well, it's a fairly common theme, isn't it? The idea that, and I think in popular culture we know that when something is forbidden, it's more exciting, it's more somehow almost more appealing, which is slightly different to something which shouldn't be. So I would differentiate between something like an affair, which is forbidden, if you like, and a relationship which is damaging or destructive.
In your opinion, what do you think happens to someone psychologically if when they go through something? For example, they are in a relationship that they shouldn't be, that is toxic to them, and they come to seek for help, but yet I'm sure you can tell that the person is going through maybe depression or some other kind of problems. I mean, what other things is common when someone is in a relationship like this?
I think what you're talking about here is what we think of as attachment styles. So what that means is the way that people make attachments. And that often is actually programmed, in a sense, in childhood, and it's dependent on what kind of parental couple they've had as they were growing up. So if for instance a child grows up in a secure environment where there's a loving couple as parents and so on, they're more likely to then seek to replicate that in their own lives. Whereas if a child grows up in an insecure environment where people are splitting up or arguing an awful lot or these kinds of things, then the child is almost conditioned to expect a similar kind of, because it's an attachment style, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So they find it kind of normal,
exactly.
And they learn to live with it.
Yes.
Oh, that's really interesting. That's really, really interesting, because we often see, even ourselves, we often see people in abusive relationships, for example, and because they think it's okay, because maybe they saw mom and dad in that same situation.
Exactly.
And one of the
that scenario gets repeated over and over and again, and I see that all the time. That there's no sense, because it's that's what it looked like when the person was growing up. Then there's no feeling that actually this shouldn't be happening, because it just feels very familiar and in a sense, although it's uncomfortable, in a sense comfortable, because it's what's known and you know how to be in that environment. Sometimes, I mean, we talk about people being commitment phobic, but I think it's more about being able to accept or live in a pattern of love and attachment, which is, in a sense, alien to us.
Right. But just one last question then for someone, maybe someone is watching us now and is thinking, oh, interesting, I do feel very angry inside, I do feel very... What other things would you say are signs that there's something wrong with the relationship at a level where it's not doing you good psychologically, you are becoming someone else, all this. What could you list? I mean, a few things, for example.
Well, okay, there's quite a lot of things come to my mind all at once, really. But there's things like, being criticised quite regularly would be one sign. Where your freedom is curtailed, whether it's about for instance, sometimes you get a situation where you want to go out with your friends and your partner doesn't say no, but makes it really difficult and makes it awkward. These are signs that this is beginning to be an abusive relationship, where your privacy isn't respected, your ideas aren't respected. These are not blatant signs, but really it's an indication that something is going to be quite wrong in this relationship.
All right. Thank you so much, Lina. There was so many more things we could talk about, like
Absolutely.
I said. But I would like to say a big thank you, and I appreciate your help in today's topic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, okay? Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Well, if you've been affected by any of the things that she said or that you heard in the program today, feel free to contact us on questions@lovetalkshow.tv.
Very interesting advice right there. We hope that it's useful.
Indeed, I loved talking to her. And of course, I had so many more questions, but you know, that's all we had time for this time.
That's right. Now, usually we don't always have time to do Dear Love Talk in this particular program just because of time. But we have so many questions coming in, and if you want to get in touch, you can. And we decided to select a few questions to answer here today on this program. Here they are. Hello, welcome to a very, very special edition of Dear Love Talk, because today we have some questions that I have a feeling we're going to use the buzzer on all of them.
Uh-oh.
By the way, I'm James.
I am Helena.
And if you want to get in touch and send us your questions, do get in touch by email, questions@lovetalkshow.tv, or via
Facebook, for example.
Absolutely.
Twitter, and anything else you like.
I'm going to put my hand on the buzzer ready for this one. Go ahead.
But you haven't heard the question.
No, I know the question. I've read the question.
You've read the script. Well, it says, I am dating this man for 6 years who is married. Okay, I understand you now. But when we met, his marriage was already on the rocks. I think you need to buzz again. Yeah? He keeps telling me he will build a future with me, but he never makes up his mind about leaving her. How can I help him to make up his mind? Another one. Yeah, that's it.
That's 3 buzzers
Now,
in one question.
Why did we use the buzzer 3 times? I mean, seriously. Breaking, entering, I'm even like lost for words. Destroying a marriage, and maybe you say, oh, but he was the one who chased me or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Or the marriage was already destroyed.
It takes 2. Second time we buzzed, you say the marriage was already... What do you know about marriage? What do you know about communion between a man and a woman who have a commitment, a sacred commitment called marriage? You don't know what that is. So you are not even allowed to say the words, oh, the marriage is on the rocks, because you don't know what that is. Anyway, let me not get too...
Well, the truth is, and I agree with everything Elena said.
It's really...
But the thing is, everything that starts wrongly ends wrongly. If you start a relationship with someone who, apparently his marriage was on the rocks, but then he cheated on his wife with you, and you've been waiting, I think, for 6 years, you said, that he makes up his mind. The truth is, even if he leaves her for you, first of all, that's wrong. And secondly, he shows that he's not a man of principles, he's not a man of integrity, and chances are that he will do this to you as well. And when he does it, you can't feel bad about it, because you did the same thing. So I think we need to look here at double standards, because you're expecting him to do something to his wife that you wouldn't want him to do with you. Should your future marriage, if there was to be one, was on the rocks, you wouldn't want him to go off with somebody else because he's having problems with you. You would want him to solve the problem. So I think the only solution for you with this relationship is for you to end this relationship and get out of the picture.
Indeed.
Let him sort out whatever problems he has with his wife. Anything else you would choose to do would be wrong. Perhaps you could even start a little relationship, a little home of yourselves. But this is wrong. The principle is wrong. It started wrong.
And it will haunt you forever. Listen, we work with people, relationships, with couples, and so many stories. We've come across so many stories. It doesn't work. There will always be the guilt. And it's morally wrong. And you ask a question as well at the end, where you say, how do I help him make up his mind? I mean,
get out of the picture.
Exactly. I was going to say that in a more nicest way. Just tell him, listen, this was never meant to be.
But the thing is...
And I am ashamed that I am in this, because I should have left you guys alone. Oh, but he loves me. No.
But
even if he says that he likes you, have some self-respect and you say, hey, I'm not that kind of woman.
But you were saying that you were trying to say this thing in a more nice way, a nicer way. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to cut to the chase and just say it as it is. So there you have it. The solution is get out of the picture, leave him alone, let him sort out his issues, and don't say, oh, sort out your issues and then come back to me. Listen, everything that starts wrong ends wrong. Remember that.
We really hope that you are enjoying today's program. And if you are looking for some sincere, down-to-earth advice, all you need to do is to write to us on questions@lovetalkshow.tv.
Or you can send us a message on Facebook, which we will reply to personally. Get in touch. Welcome back. We're going to introduce to you Samantha Dixon, and who's our guest here on the show, by the way. But even though we're talking about something which is slightly a heavy topic, forbidden love and what that means, we can talk about it in a really light way, because it now sounds like light years ago that Samantha went through this. Am I right, Samantha?
Yes, well, it is very many years ago, yeah.
By the way, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It is a privilege and honor to be with you two lovely couple.
It's a pleasure to have the DKW presenter sharing the story with us.
I'm quite honored to be here today. Wonderful.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for
now,
having me.
we're talking about forbidden love, and we're trying to understand why, if someone knows that relationship, going into that relationship, that's not good for them, why would someone do that? Now, I know that you've had first-hand experience with this, because two of your past relationships, which were perhaps your only relationships at that time before you got married, they were both in somehow destructive.
Yes,
but I want you to talk to us about that first relationship. Okay. What was that person like?
Well, what was he like? He was actually my first love, basically. Although I had dated guys in my life, but it was that period of your life where you didn't really know what love is. And when I met him, I was actually introduced with him by my sister. And he was actually a music artist, so very, very popular person in the industry. At that particular time, I didn't know he was a criminal or into any form of criminal activity, and I certainly wasn't. I was flamboyant young lady, grown up, and the oyster is there for you. You just want to take on the world, and I was doing very well. I'd been doing modeling. I was getting a career even on, I think I was doing a bit of hair and beauty, and just finding myself and enjoying life. And when I met him, he was somebody I had never met anybody with quite his character.
Why?
Why? Because the guys I had met were very, it was a different type of music type of guy. So he was very, what you would call ghetto type of person, where I was from a very, what we would call uptown. So I was very much into more soul music. So even if I went clubbing with friends, it was very much on the soul type of thing, type of lifestyles. It was very, very different from the reggae ghetto type of scene.
When did you find out that he was into criminal activity?
Well, to be honest with you, he had asked me out to go for a date. It was a big established, what we would call a dance. And there was going to be artists that had come over from America, Jamaica, kind of thing. So a lot of promotion had been done on it. And he had invited me to come along. Now you can imagine my sister was like so excited. Oh my God, this popular person from that scene actually fancies her sister.
Right.
So the excitement of it all. So, of course, because it was something new for me and exciting, I went along. And this, going into like a posh car in those days, BMW, and this guy with jewelry and that scene, walking into nightclubs, without paying and things. This was all very, very new for me. And then afterwards, I found that he was very nice, very open, and showering me with gifts. So that's how the relationship started.
How old were you? Let me just.
Well, I was actually,
Roughly.
I was probably around maybe 19, 20 age. So I was quite a mature age.
Yeah, you just looking for.
Not sure if I'm looking for love yet.
Yeah, it
but,
was just enjoying like.
But you're still enjoying life at that moment. So you're kind of taking on whatever comes to you.
But how long? What I wanted to find out is how long into the relationship did you find out about his criminal activity?
Practically straight away.
Now, so when you found that out, right? If you don't mind me asking, what sort of criminal activity was he?
It was drugs. These type of people, they do a lot of things like buying and selling illegal stuff.
Right.
Drugs and other
stuff.
Other stuff.
Yeah.
So here you are, and you just started this relationship. You found out that this guy, was into criminal activity, so it could be dangerous. He could get into trouble. Why didn't you say, I'm going to get out of this? Because that's what we want to find out. Is it forbidden love?
At that particular time in my life, it was like I don't have a clue why. I was warned by even my parents. I had another sister who's very much not into crime or illegal activity or anything like that, and I was warned by family that don't go there.
Right.
This type of guy is not for you. You shouldn't be putting yourself with these type of people.
Why didn't you listen to them?
I was excited. I was excited.
Everything's so new.
Everything was new. I was actually going into this fast lane, fast cars, someone who's giving you full-on attention.
Right.
And, and at that time, I very thought, because I was doing modelling at that time, I was actually in a lot of magazines. So at that point in my life as well, you had a lot of attention because people were recognising, oh, you were in the magazine,
Right.
So you can imagine the attention from him, having this girl on my side, which he was probably used to more ghetto girls and not having an uptown type of girl.
Did you get into crime yourself at that time?
Not at first, no. Not at first, no, because at the time I began to you're dating this person, you're going out with this person, then eventually I started to have a sexual relationship with him because he took my virginity basically.
It was your first. Oh, okay.
It was my first time, and this was a shock for me. In fact, and I didn't expect that the person that I was going to really sleep with for the first time was going to be someone like this, and that's where he broke me right down.
Right.
And I thought that, okay, I'm loving this person, but I can't. When I got to know him, I'm saying to myself, well, I want to change this type of guy. I want him. I'm realizing the type of background he came from.
So your mentality was that you hoped that you could change him.
Or help him.
Or help him.
Or save him.
Because I actually, I thought I was becoming like his counselor, because obviously meeting this guy from this world, and when he told me his history of being on the street from an actual very young age, and all his friends were like grown-up men, and that was his lifestyle, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, does people actually go through this?
This is what we wanted to find out, Samantha, because our question usually is, if you are going to enter into a forbidden kind of love, and it's forbidden for a reason. It's forbidden because it's either dangerous or abusive.
Yeah, and it was dangerous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Toxic in any way.
Because we have this alarm system that if something is dangerous for us, we get away from that. So what makes someone, against the advice of their family and knowing that it's dangerous, still stick around? So for you, you were hoping, because you love this person, you were hoping that you could change him.
I think what it is as well, I think it's rebellion. Because I think at that stage in my life, I was quite rebellious. I reach a point in my life where, you know, it's not about what anybody thinks. It's not what my parents think. I'm not going to college to do this. You know, you didn't want me to do.
I'm going to do my own thing.
I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm going out with who I want. And don't get me wrong, I had a lot of nice guys who wanted to date me.
But you didn't want a nice guy.
But I didn't want a nice guy.
So what was
the excitement?
So the attraction to someone was dangerous. Was the excitement?
The danger.
Was there any kind of vanity?
Thrill.
Like, you know, I hung around with this guy who lets me into any club.
Of course, the vanity.
That is a point I would like
to.
Yeah, and that is a point I would like to highlight, because this is what happens with young people.
Yes, indeed.
Of course, it also happens to adults and all that, but it's happening with younger and younger people.
Yeah.
So so initially was the excitement, the thrill, the danger. Did you get to a point where you got tired of that danger? You didn't want that anymore. You wanted out.
I did it after 9 years.
Wow. It took you 9 years.
Took me 9 years. I mean, I would have thought probably in the first 6 years, I kind of knew within myself, do you know what? This is not where I should be. Do you know what I mean? Because by this time, instead of me changing him or bringing him into my world, slowly by surely, he took me straight into it.
That is
into it, and this was the danger zone, because this could have cost my life.
Yeah.
You see, many people say, "Oh no, it's nothing. We're just dating. I am who I am. I was brought up in a way. I know who I am." But sooner or later, they go down the same path.
Sooner or later, it catches up with you.
And what we want to tell people at home is that, you know, a good orange does not make a bad one go good. It's always the bad orange that makes the good one go bad. So, you know, if you are in a relationship where there is abuse or there is crime, or the person is cheating on you, but he says, "You're my woman," or whatever happens.
There's a game going on, a psychological...
Exactly. If you are in a situation where you consider it to be a forbidden love because everyone sees that this is bad for you apart from you, the end product of this relationship will always be bad. You know, you may have some good moments, but the scars that this kind of love leaves you with is not worth it, because it takes sometimes years to recover from scars like that. And Samantha's going to tell us a little bit more about this after the break. Now, before we go for the break, we had Eric and Priscilla who went on the exercise session for couple. Here's how it went for this week.
Hi Love Talk, I'm Eric.
And I'm Priscilla.
We are back with the Love Fitness, and we have here with us Jordan. Priscilla, are you ready?
Yes.
We are ready, so let's go.
Are you ready at home? Get off the sofa then. If you are suffering from any medical condition, or if you have a physical injury, then make sure you check with your doctor before you do any exercise. And other than that, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to come to a standstill, guys, and just do our mobility poses. So taking our arms up like a cactus, really, and then rotating to the side. No swinging, it's a controlled movement. There we go, fingertips to the temple, almost like a supermodel pose. You can pout if you want as well. Nice smile. There we go, down we go. And then hands to the hips, coming forward. So these are quite standard what we'll do warm-up-wise on these shows. Hands on your back, and then doing a baby back bend. Okay, so just a little jog now, shaking it out. We're going to be doing some lunges today, so pay attention because they're quite tricky. Stand to the side, guys, so we can show everybody. If you come this side, brilliant. Okay, so we're stepping forward now with our right leg doing the right lunge. It's important that your knee is in a safe position. You spring back to center and then the other side. So that's one whole one, okay? And then again, so the main thing is that you do the same amount on each side. Check that your knee's safe. Important that everything's in line from your hip to the knee. There we go. Brilliant. I feel like doing this in some kind of cool dance move. It's going great. Okay, so you've got the hang of that at home. You can also bring your arms into it. If you want to do some bicep curls, you can also pick some weights up. So you can try that a little bit harder if you want. Now the next one's a bit tricky because we're stepping backwards. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It is a bit hard. Okay, so we're standing still, taking one leg back. We'll start with our right, brilliant, coming back to the center. So this works our motor skills a bit because we're not used to doing this, you see? So it's all, if you wobble, that's fine. Just try again. There we go. Keep your hands on your hips, so keep your hips square. And remember to do about the same amount on each side. Checking the position again of your hip and your knee. I'm getting a little bit out of breath. How are you guys doing? Oh, it is getting harder. Right, okay, so do you want it a little bit more tricky? To the side. I love this one, like, absolutely love it. It's like my superhero pose, right? It's like Spider-Man. You ready for this?
Yes.
So we're going to the side in a side lunge. Fantastic. I'm gonna get out of your way, keep going. So making sure your chest stays lifted. That's it. Keeping that knee safe. Fantastic. Okay, and again, you can hold a medicine ball or a weight in your hand as long as you stay safe as you do this and you make it that little bit harder. You can also have a little bounce in between, so you can go one side and bounce. Oh, nearly knocked it over there. We're getting excited. Right, okay, next up, we're gonna see if you guys can mirror each other. So go ahead, 2 lunges and then side lunges. Forward, come on. Fantastic. Okay. You see, it's a bit tricky working as a team like this. Okay. So we're doing opposites. There we go, back we go. Fantastic, to the side now.
To the side, to the side.
What are you doing? Some crazy dance move. I'm just standing still watching the whole lot happen. This is brilliant. Okay, I think I'm going to leave those to it. I bet you're better at home than these guys. They need to practice. But you can include those back lunges as well, which are that bit trickier in your little mirroring. Okay, well done, guys. We're going to do a little stretch here, same as what we did with the squats. Just pushing that hip forward once your heels to your bottom. There we go. Had fun, guys?
Yes.
That's the main thing. See you next time. Bye.
Did you know that we hold weekly seminars every Saturday at 7 p.m. and admission is completely free? Take a look at this.
Get in touch, questions at lovetalkshow.tv, and come and join us.
Bye.
Welcome back. So we heard an amazing story from Samantha Dixon about how she really, for 9 years, she was in this relationship that was dangerous and exciting and thrilling, and it was crime, and initially she resisted going into that life of crime. Somehow she got tangled up with it. But what I wanted to find out from you, Samantha, when the relationship ended, because it ended because you found out he was cheating on you, is that right?
Yes, he betrayed me. He actually started traveling a lot, going abroad, and then I found out that he had at least 7 other women with me.
Wow.
So
I imagine you were all friends in the end.
Yeah, well, I don't know about friends. I didn't know any of the women.
7 women.
In fact, I was broken-hearted.
That's what I want to find
devastated.
out. We want to find out what is the consequence of a relationship that is that damaged because of dangerous and is forbidden and all this stuff that is going on, and then at the end he cheats on you with 7 other women.
Yeah.
How were you when that relationship ended, and how long did it take you for you to recover?
It took me years to recover, I can tell you that, because I was really broken-hearted. When you've given your entire life to somebody, and to the point where you've even surrendered all your goals, your dreams, your vision to somebody else.
9 years is something.
9 years is a long time. It's someone who you've given your life to, you've surrendered. You think this is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And I was really devastated. My life, I felt like I'd lost my self-esteem. I'd lost my own personality. All my visions had completely being
you
destroyed.
became a different person.
I became a completely different person. At that point in my life, I didn't used to smile. When people see me now, they say, "Gosh, you're always smiling." I never smiled. I was empty, completely empty.
Of course, your life now is very different.
Yes.
And you talk about this openly because you've really recovered from this. You now have a wonderful marriage. You've been married for how long?
I've been married for 15 years.
15 years?
Yes.
You have a wonderful marriage,
Yeah,
2 children.
absolutely.
But what I wanted to ask you now, Samantha, there are people watching this program who are in a relationship that seems forbidden, a relationship that is, you know, everybody's against them and they think this is great because it's just me and the person.
They know they shouldn't be there.
What's your advice to someone in that situation?
You know, it's. I would actually say that you've got to take on the signs that you're faced with. You can see the sign. You know right from wrong. We all do. You know when something is negative. You know when something is good for your life, and you've got to be real to yourself. You know, if you see that you're in a relationship where you're destroying your own self, there's no fruits from this relationship. You're destroying your own personality. There's nothing good about this relationship. It's not productive. It's not. But what I have to say as well, many people, many women, even men as well, when you're in these types of relationships, you actually believe that you can't get out. Because you feel as if you're trapped.
Is that how you felt at the time?
I did. I actually thought that, how on earth am I going to get out of this world? And I didn't know how I was going to get out of this world. And you have to grab that. What I had to do, I had to grab that opportunity. So finding out the negativity and the betrayal, it kind of like, right, this is my opportunity. You know that this relationship is not good. You've always known. You know you need to get out of it. But you've got every reason
to just leave
now. So take that opportunity and get out quick. And that's what I actually did. He had travelled, and when he came back, I just made that decision. You're not coming back in my life.
And hopefully, if there are people who are watching us now, who are watching this program and are in that situation, you will make that decision before it gets to that point. You're going to save yourself a lot of trouble. And what you said is right. Some people only have the courage to make that decision when it gets that bad. But you know, you could save yourself a whole lot of trouble, a whole lot of trauma, and just move on.
And these days there's a lot of support, depending on what kind of relationship you are in. If it's abusive, whatever, there is so much
there
help
is
out
support,
there.
but you know, this is the trap that people think that they can't get out of it. Because I can remember even leaving a relationship and the relationship, the person not wanting to let go. And that's another side of the coin, where you can want to get out of the relationship, but the person does not accept. But this is the good thing about it. There's such thing as that. I mean, in my case, I had to involve the law and I had to take out certain injunction. There is advice and guidance out there. The law is out there. So if it's an abusive relationship like I ended up in, and I reached the point where I had to bring the law involved.
And thankfully, your marriage now is not a forbidden love, right? It's a healthy kind of love.
It's a very healthy relationship. I'm happily married with my husband, and we continue to invest in our love life.
That's great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Now, before we wrap up today's program, because we have something that we really want to share with you at the end. We sent Eric and Priscilla on a date. And they did something really different, because they went to this bakery to spend an afternoon out, but they have 5 tips that every single should know. Here's how it went.
Hello, Love Talk. Today, James and Helena sent us to this amazing place called the BB Bakery, and by my side I have Florentina.
Hello.
Who is with BB Bakery since the beginning, right?
Since the beginning of the bakery,
2010.
2010, we start with the first bakery in the County Hall near London Eye, and then we have the opportunity to come here in the Covent Garden. And we opened the 2012 the BB Bakery Covent Garden.
Wow, which is an amazing place.
Thank you very much.
So I would like to ask you, what are the others activities? Because I heard that you guys have some amazing activities.
Oh,
so
yes.
what are the other activities?
So first of all, we are very, very known now for the afternoon tea, the BB Bakery afternoon tea. Then we start to do the afternoon tea in a bus tour.
Wow.
Which is very, very famous now.
Which, if you guys remember, James and Helena went there, right? And now it's our turn.
Yes, and then we extend for the BB boat afternoon tea.
Wow.
Yes, and we're gonna do maybe the BB afternoon tea in a taxi. Let's see, the London cab. And we do also afternoon tea delivery and all these activities.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Florentina.
You're
If you
welcome.
want to know more information, you can see here at the bottom of your screen. And today we have something special, because today we are going to be giving 5 tips for you who are single, okay? So stay tuned and let's see what this amazing place has in store for us.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the fresh orange juices.
Thank you.
Okay, so 1 green tea is that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, and 1 here for you also.
Thank you.
Fresh orange juice and 1 more green tea. Enjoy it. Hello again. So here is the afternoon tea.
Wow.
Try to put in the middle.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so as you can see, we have a selection of sandwiches and cakes, cupcakes, chocolate, the pistachio macaroon, the lemon tart meringue, which is our famous lemon tart and everybody loves it. Cream cheese coconut with the biscuit base, and also the scones are coming. So, and you have scones with cream and jam also. Here you go.
Okay.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See? Shall we start? I think I'm gonna start with this one here. The cheese one.
Do you want this one?
Yes, that one. That one makes sense. Thank you.
Salmon, right?
Yes, it's like a pancake. I expect it to be like
Let me try.
like a, I don't know the name, but yeah, it's like a pancake, a little pancake. It's nice.
Very nice.
You have to try this one as far as really.
Let me see.
You want another one?
It's a very wonderful place for couples to be, isn't it?
Yes, and not only couples, but you know, girls to bring their friends here, it's perfect. And I heard that they have gluten-free, vegetarian, and other type of culture adapted food. Yes, it's
Wow.
very nice, very nice.
Yes, guys, we really loved this place today, right, Priscilla?
Very nice.
The cakes, everything was wonderful.
Yes, Helena had told me about this place.
And she was right.
She was right. She was definitely right. And while we are having our tea, we would like to give the tips for the singles.
I believe it's gonna help you a lot, so pay attention to them. Priscilla, tell us the first one.
First of all, when you are single, sometimes we tend to be feeling pressurized. Like, oh, I'm single, I need to find someone. And it's not like this, you need to enjoy this time. This is the time for you to invest in yourself, you know, do something that you like, develop as a person, and you know, in the right time, you're gonna find someone.
Right. Now the second one is you should love yourself. Because we can't love somebody else if we don't love yourself. We need to value ourselves. We can't be looking for flaws in us because we are unique, right?
Yes, you need to be more confident. Smile more. There's nothing more attractive than that, because that shows that you know your value, right? Like you said in the second tip. And we have the third tip: be confident. Smile more. There's nothing more attractive than someone who knows their value.
And the fourth one is you should be very careful the kind of environment that you are in. Because if you're looking for a serious relationship, I don't believe you shall find it in bars, in parties, right? You should ask this question.
Maybe the person is not finding, she's always getting into a relationship that, you know, she finds herself having trouble. But if she looks, where is she finding those partners?
Right.
And finally, tip number 5. When you go on a date, relax. Don't judge the person by their first impression. Give the person a chance. After all, you only know if you like someone when you get to know that person.
Right, guys, I hope the tips that we gave you were very helpful.
I hope you enjoyed it. And now we're going to continue our tea.
See you next week.
Back to studio.
Well, we hope those 5 tips were helpful for all the singles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we finish today's program, you know, we want to just perhaps give you a final piece of advice. And they say that if advice was any good, people would charge for it, right? But here's the thing, you know, when you're in a forbidden kind of love, a relationship that's dangerous, there's various stages to it. And hopefully you can see that a relationship that is dangerous, you can notice that right at the beginning. No matter how attracted you are to this person, no matter how great this relationship looks like, if it is deemed forbidden, it is for a reason. And perhaps the best thing is for you to make a tough decision to leave before you have any significant emotional damage done to you. So if something is forbidden, remember, it's always forbidden for a reason.
Indeed, and my advice is for the young people out there that, you know, you may think, you know what, it's nothing. I can just get out of this relationship anytime I want. I can just have fun, enjoy myself, and, you know, this person can give me so many things. Don't play with fire. You just heard Samantha sharing her story. And we, of course, she had so much more to talk about that we didn't have time. So you can tell that this is dangerous. So, you know, get out of that relationship while it's safe.
Yeah, and you said
still safe.
Not playing with fire. They usually say that if you play with fire, at some point you will get burnt. It's a matter of time. It's not that if it will happen. It will happen. It's just a matter of time.
And
so
we're trying to help.
Exactly. So if you're in a relationship that seems to be dangerous, it is dangerous. Things are dangerous for a reason. If they're dangerous, keep out. Stay away from it. Okay? Be courageous.
Yeah, and be humble. Be humble and listen to your parents or the person who's been giving you good advice.
That's right.
And you're not going to look silly. You're going to really be smart if you make the right decision.
And it's a sign of strength, not of weakness,
Exactly.
if you decide to do that. Okay? We hope that today's program has been helpful. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Well, that's all for today's Love Talk show. Be sure to tune in next week to learn how to love intelligently.